when in doubt just shut up
Yeah. For example, the silent treatment is classic passive aggressive, right? It's like this sugar-coated pile of garbage.
You're so pretty I don't get it why you're still single Man how could it possible
I know myself and a lot of women really hate it when men tell us to smile.
I'm not racist I have a lot of black friends
Ay.
Welcome to Talk a Native episode 2 My name is Vic from the Standard KNT
And my name is Christine from RELO, which is the Regional English Language Office of the U.S. Embassy.
Hi Christine
Hi, Vic.
How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Pretty good All right I've got a question to ask Okay so would you prefer that people be direct or indirect to you in terms of like when they want to tell you something that they kind of get the sense that you might like it so much would you like them to just be direct and say it or just not so much
Personally, I prefer people being direct. I think it just makes it easier and faster because if people are too indirect, it makes me very confused and I might think they mean something when they don't, or I might just not get the hint at all.
Okay.
So I prefer people to be more direct, but not rude.
So they're not the same.
No, they are not the same at all, in my opinion. I think if you're direct, you tell people honestly what it is that you need or that you want or whatever it is that you have to say. But
in a nice way.
In a nice way, not in a way that's going to embarrass them or belittle them. I think you can do that. It requires a lot of vulnerability, I think. But I think it is possible to do it without hurting them.
คำถามของวันนี้อยากจะเริ่มต้นว่าเรื่องการสื่อสารพูดคุยเป็นเรื่องปกติมากที่เราจะต้องมีการพูดในสิ่งที่บางครั้งมันไม่ใช่ good message มันจะไม่ใช่สิ่งที่อีกฝ่ายหนึ่งอยากฟังแต่มันเป็นสิ่งที่ต้องพูดหรือจำเป็นที่จะต้องบอกออกไปไม่งั้นจะเกิดปัญหาถ้าเกิดเป็นคุณผู้ชมคุณผู้ฟังล่ะครับอยากจะให้เขาพูดกับคุณตรงๆเลยถึงแม้ว่ามันอาจจะบาดจิตบาดใจเรานิดนึงหรือว่าช่วยกรุณาอ้อมๆหน่อยจริงๆแล้วเรื่องนี้อาจจะเป็นเรื่องของความชอบส่วนบุคคลหรือว่าอาจจะเป็นเรื่องเกี่ยวกับวัฒนธรรมของกลุ่มก็ได้ It could be like your personal preference or it could be very cultural too, right?
Definitely.
I can imagine you have this problem like working in Thailand being like an American who I think might like things like more direct but Thai people might not be that way at all.Absolutely. Do you have stories to tell, to share?
For sure. Yeah, sometimes it can be hard.
Yeah.
On my end, it can be a little confusing. I'll give you maybe just a benign example. Like, for example, I was working on a project with someone, and I had created an outline for this course, and this person asked me, so why did you include this topic? And I said, because of these reasons. And then this person said, okay. Do you think that's a good idea? And I said, well, yeah, that's why I included it.
That's why I did it, right?
And I was like, do you not think it's a good idea? And
that
nothing.
Person
and then moved on. And I was like, oh God, like, was this a hint that I'm supposed to get? If so, what is the hint? And like, if it's wrong, what's wrong about it? And if I need to fix it, what do I fix about it? And I was left very confused.
Right.
So yes.
But if it were you on the other side of the table, you would just say what you think, right?
I mean, I think it's great to start with questions, for sure. I think it's great to get another person's perspective to understand why they included something. And maybe my answer was enough, and that's why she left it. I don't know. I'm not totally sure, but
her like facial expression or her like gesture
just kind of made me think, well, maybe she doesn't like it, but I can't tell. But I think if it were me, I would have asked the questions as well to get more information. And if I was satisfied with the answer, I'd say, okay, great. If not, I would say, I think we might want to think about this other option.
Right.
So I think
just say it. What you think, what you need to like. Just talk. Let's talk about the problems that you see and I might not see.
Yeah.
it's okay to like collaborate
Absolutely.
like that,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Whenever you're making something creative, you want another person's eyes. You want them to give you feedback. Because I don't have all the answers, that's for sure.
Yeah. You know what? I was thinking about like Thai people could be like without any intention super passive aggressive because they don't want to be like obviously aggressive towards something.
Sure.
Even though they don't like it, they are not gonna say it to your face. And so that's why they kind of think and act like they're okay, but obviously they're not okay with the idea. And yeah, do you think that could be counted as like passive aggressiveness?
I think it's possible. Yeah, I think it's possible, depending, I think, on your intention.
Right.
I don't think her intention was to be
Okay.
passive aggressive necessarily. I think it was more about her not being comfortable telling me a negative thing.
So talking about this word, can you like give the definition of passive aggressiveness
Yeah.
so our audience can understand?
So if you are passive aggressive, it means you don't like something or you don't want something, but you're not going to say it directly. You're going to give some other kind of clue or signal or hint that you are upset that other person is supposed to get.
Okay. Also, that's a key word that the other person is supposed to get that I'm not happy.
And if they don't get it, well, you're just going to get more and more angry or upset or whatever.
Yeah.
So, for example, the silent treatment is classic passive aggressive, right?
Silent treatment ก็คือการพูดง่ายๆคืองอน Do you know the word งอน in Thai? Like งอน I'm not gonna talk to you and I'm not gonna tell you what's gonna happening or what's happening right now. I'm just gonna talk to you like งอน. Yeah, that's in
Like
Thai.
if you don't know why I'm upset, then you need to figure that out. You know, maybe like kind
something
of
like that. So silent treatment ก็คือไม่พูดด้วยงอนนั่นเองนะครับ Another example?
Yeah, so I think the silent treatment's a big one. I think that happens a lot in relationships mostly.
Yeah, for sure.
It's just like you did this thing, I'm not talking to you. And the other person's like, why aren't you talking to me? You should know, So I think you could do that. I think you might just say things like, fine, it's fine, whatever. Just kind of blow it off and dismiss it as no big deal when it clearly is
You're
a
not
big
fine
deal.
with that.
Yeah.
Or I'm not mad. I'm not mad.
I am not mad.
I'm not mad. With this exact eye expression. I'm not mad. So obviously you're mad, but you're not going to say it. Yeah. The other person is supposed to get that by themselves.
It's a lot of hint dropping.
Yeah.
I think. I think I might be guilty of this sometimes, like not at work so much because I'm quite direct at work, but in relationships, I might be a little guilty of this.
Yeah. Or I thought you know. I thought you're supposed to know this, so I thought you knew.
Yeah. It's a lot of like indirect communication because you are afraid to really talk about how you really feel.
Right. So yeah, that's another like approach or like technique for a lot of people to use in communication because they maybe don't have the words for it. Maybe they don't know how to like come about saying it. So they choose this way, which to them is safer. Right? And the other person, just get the clue, just get the hint already. Don't make me say it. Don't make me say it. Yeah. So this is like not direct.
No.
Okay.
Not
and
at all.
It's not healthy either.
No. And I think sometimes it happens too with our superiors because we feel like we don't have a voice or we can't say that thing, to your boss at work or whomever. And so you're just like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. And then maybe you're purposely late on it or maybe you complain about it or, those things. Absolutely.
Yeah. So talking about like being direct or indirect and like the miscommunication of some sort, I've heard the concept of like backhanded compliment.
Oh,
You've heard about it?
Yes,
yeah.
for sure.
So what are those?
So backhanded compliments are things that on the outside sound positive and sound encouraging, but really there's a little fire under it, that's it's kind of like I had a friend that used to say, "Kill them with kindness." It's like this sugar-coated pile of garbage.
Okay. And you know what? This could be done like intentionally or unintentionally too.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful of the kind of compliments you're paying to someone else.
Yeah.
Do you want to give examples?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, we intentionally kill them with kindness, but sometimes we really are trying to say something nice about somebody, but they take it in the wrong way.
Okay.
Like for example, I normally have quite curly hair, and I straightened my hair a couple weeks ago, and someone I know said, "Oh, wow, your hair looks so good. You look so much younger." And I was like,
See, on the outside, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Because they're like saying nice things about you. But you have to read between the lines too, right?
Yeah.
So it means what? Like I look older before?
And like,
Or
am I going to
you
look
hate-
old when my hair is curly again? Because
Yeah.
it's going to be curly again. Am I gonna...
Yeah. And I'm sure a lot of people experience this because they mean the best, but their words is not the best.
Yeah.
Or one thing I found that I like a lot, I wish I was as relaxed as you about messiness. Dude, just call me messy or
Right.
like dirty. That would be a lot better. แบบเราอยากจะเป็นคนที่รู้สึกโอเคกับความรกๆแบบนายบ้างจังเลยท่าทางดูสบายดีเนาะด่าเลยไหมด่าเลยดีกว่า ว่าทำไมห้องรกอย่างนี้นะครับ so just say it but the thing is they don't want to say bad things like
Right.
they don't want to sound mean
And I think their intention truly is good.
Yeah.
I really don't think their intention is bad a lot of times. It's just like it comes out in a way and it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Like, what does that supposed to mean? You know?
Right. And okay, how about this one? I wish I didn't have any responsibilities like you. I'm so busy, man, and you look so chill. I envy you for not having things to do.
Yeah, I get that a lot from people with children. And I'm like,
okay.
Do you think children are the only responsibility someone can have? Like, I have plenty of responsibilities.
Yeah.
But yeah. It's
But I'm sure they didn't mean like no harm
of course not.
at all.
Of course not. I think it's that mentality that the grass is always greener, right? And like,
Yeah.
oh, your life looks so great and shiny and perfect. And it's like, well, the reality might not be quite what you think.
And the classic, you're so pretty. I don't get it why you're still single. Man, how could it possible? Why?
Yes.
This is not fair for a pretty girl like you.
I can't tell you
Just
how
stab me.
many
Just
times,
stab me.
How many times I've heard that in my life? Like, how are you not married? You're pretty, you're smart. I'm like, well, I must be a total idiot. I don't know. Like, how am I supposed to answer that question?
Right.
Like,
Right. So yeah, what you have to watch for and be super careful about is the way you talk to people and you think you mean something and it could mean something else. Like the backhanded compliments that we just mentioned, the passive aggressiveness. And we've come up with this word. I think it's kind of new. I'm not sure. It could be like microaggression.
yeah, microaggression is kind of a new word.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So micro means very little or small, right? And aggression means like being aggressive, right?
Absolutely.
So microaggression, what does that mean?
So microaggression is kind of similar to passive aggressive, but a little bit different. Microaggression is normally something that is directed at a person because of the group that they belong to. So it can be kind of a backhanded compliment about that group that they represent.
Okay.
And again, a lot of times people aren't aware that they're really offending someone or aware that this might be hurtful or make them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
They really think in their minds like, oh, I didn't mean it like that. But it can come out in the wrong way.
You know, this could be like the title of this episode. Are you offending someone without knowing it?
Yeah.
Right? Because it could happen.
Sure.
Let's give some examples so people understand better.
Absolutely.
Okay. It could be about gender.
Definitely.
Right? For example.
Definitely. Oh, wow. So many examples.
Yeah.
Like, for example, what's wrong with her? Is she on her period? You know, if you're having a bad day or something like that and you're a woman, it's like, oh, automatically that's you're hormonal. You can't just have a normal bad day.
I see.
So things like that, or maybe things like, I don't know that this is really, well, it kind of counts. I know myself and a lot of women really hate it when men tell us to smile. Like I'm not hearing it as much anymore because I think the Me Too movement kind of helped eradicate those comments, but I used to hear it all the time. You know, you're in the grocery store shopping, you're busy, whatever. I'm not just walking around with a giant smile on my face all the time, right? Like I'm on a mission to find carrots.
Yeah.
And
the reason that this is like the gender thing is because like the expectations that men have for women, right? Women supposed to like look pretty and smile all the time and just take it whatever.
You're a decoration for our lives, right?
Right.
So yeah, it always happened to me in the grocery store. I must have like a horrible look when I'm shopping. I don't know. But I would be shopping and some man would walk by. You should smile. Why don't you smile? Da, da, da. And I'm like, why don't you leave me alone, stranger?
Just hit him with a carrot. How about this one? How do you like this one? Don't be so sensitive. Yeah, we heard that, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and most of the time it's directed to women.
Yeah.
Because,
They have this idea that women are more sensitive. It's like, okay, well.
Yeah.
Before I wasn't smiling enough, and now I'm not sensitive enough. So you tell me how it is I should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were talking before taping, and you told me about you being from the South.
Yes.
Yeah, and tell us a story.
So I'm from the southern United States, and typically people are very sweet. We're kind and sweet, and especially in the past, people would use words like honey and sweetie and sugar a lot, even with strangers. Like for example, where I normally take my car to get fixed, the woman that runs the office uses it all the time with everyone. Doesn't matter if you're a man, a woman, old, young. She's like, okay, sweetie. Okay, honey, we'll get that for you right away, sweetheart. Okay, darling. And personally, I think it's kind of cute. I kind of like it, but some people don't. And I think it depends who's doing it. Like, for example, if a man of my same age is calling me sweetie and I don't know him, it feels icky. Yeah,
No.
I don't
The thing is,
appreciate
a lot of these could happen because we kind of assume that the other people might have the same experience or same belief or same feelings as us, which is not always the case.
Absolutely. Yeah.
เพราะฉะนั้นคำพวกเนี้ยจริงๆแล้วมันเป็นคำที่มันเป็น do they call like terms of endearment? Yeah. So the thing that is added at the end of the sentence and used like to call a person without like calling their names.
Yeah.
ไม่ว่าจะเป็นแบบ sweetie, darling, what else? Like
Sweetheart,
honey, sweetheart. มันอาจจะไม่ใช่สิ่งที่ทุกคนเขาชอบก็ได้นะ เพราะฉะนั้นอาจจะต้องกลับมาคิดดีๆว่าการใช้สรรพนามหรือว่าคำเรียกเหล่านี้อาจจะไม่โอเคสำหรับคนอื่นทั้งที่เราคิดว่ามันโอเคแล้วก็ไม่เห็นเป็นอะไรเลยไอ้คำนี้แหละทำให้ทะเลาะกันมามากต่อมากแล้วนะครับ so let's move from gender to like sexuality we might hear someone say that is so gay which gay here could mean like gay like homosexual and it could mean what also
happy yeah. I think gay was a word we used in English to mean happy quite a long time ago. It's more of an older word in that sense. I feel like these days gay just means homosexual.
But also I heard that it could mean like it could have a very negative meaning to like it's such a drag, it's boring.
Oh, yeah. If you say that's so gay. Yeah, for sure. That's the negative connotation. Usually, if people use this expression, it's to say this thing is weird or strange or dumb or, whatever. So it's absolutely offensive.
So you have to watch out for that. Be careful
Definitely.
of saying that. Or maybe you can hear someone say to the other person, you don't look like a typical gay guy. Yeah. Which I get that the person speaking this sentence might think that he's paying the other person a compliment that you don't look gay.
Right.
So, what do you think looking gay is bad, or do you think looking masculine is better? Right?
And what does it mean to look gay? You know, like what does that have to do with the way that you look at all? Absolutely. Yeah. I had a student who commented on, things that people would say to her and say like, oh, well, I didn't know you were trans. You don't seem trans. And it's like, well, what does it mean to seem trans? It's like, I'm just myself. So,
And maybe this one. My friend is a lesbian. Do you know her? Please, people, just think.
That's just goofy. It's like, oh yeah, all the lesbians of the world have a meeting every week and get to know each other.
They're supposed to know each other, and don't say that. Like,
no.
Oh yeah. Oh, my friend's also gay. You might know him.
You might know him, right?
No. Just don't. Okay.
Goofy things that we think, right?
Yeah. And how about this one? Like, do you have a wife or do you have a husband? Which seems very harmless to ask. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's always a tricky question in general. You don't want to ask that too soon before you get to know someone.
Right. Not on the first meet.
Yeah, but you do need to be careful about just assuming things about people, assuming that they're heterosexual or a homosexual, be like, oh, so does your wife think that blah, blah, blah? And you're like, actually, my husband does, or whatever. So I think it's important just not to assume things.
Right.
If you're not sure, don't mention it or ask. Ask questions. I don't think there's anything wrong with asking questions.
Right.
It's better than just assuming.
Another topic that is pretty sensitive as well is ethnicity or like race.
For sure.
So what have you heard?
Oh, nothing good.
Yeah.
Nothing good. But I think, there are obviously overtly racist comments, right? And we all know what those are, and I don't think we need to go into that. But we're talking more about microaggression. So this is those comments that people drop and they think they're saying something good, but really it's kind of that backhanded compliment. So things like, wow, you're so articulate. You speak so well. Kind of like, I didn't expect that from you.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? That the people looking like you shouldn't be able to speak this well.
Absolutely.
In English or in whatever language.
Yeah. People, I don't get offended about it, but people say that to me when they find out I'm from the South. Oh, well, you don't have a Southern accent. You speak well.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, great to know I don't sound like an idiot that you think all Southern people are.
Right. It could be like interpreted in such a unhealthy way, but we can't blame them because we have no idea what they have been through. And we have no idea what they have experienced in the past. So just don't assume that this is going to be like okay. Yeah. This one, this is also very harmless looking or sounding. You're so interesting looking. อุ๊ยเป็นคนที่ดูรูปร่างหน้าตาน่าสนใจจังเลย what are you? You're so interesting looking.
It's like, I'm a person.
I'm not
what
an
are
alien.
you?
ไม่ใช่ชาวนาวีนะ หรือว่า yeah, because maybe in Thailand we don't have this problem as much because we are not that super like multicultural or multinational like in the States or in any other place in the world. But it's a possibility that you might get to work in the multicultural environment in the future, and it's nice to know and be aware that something might not be very appropriate to say out loud ต่อให้ในเมืองไทยยังไม่มีปัญหานี้ในเรื่องเชื้อชาติเพราะเราไม่ได้แบบเป็นแบบประเทศที่ยำหลายชาติขนาดนั้นในเวลานี้แต่อนาคตใครจะไปรู้คุณอาจจะมีโอกาสทำงานกับบริษัทองค์กรหรือกลุ่มก้อนทางสังคมใดๆที่ประกอบด้วยคนหลายเชื้อชาติหลายภาษาที่หน้าตาผิวพรรณต่างกันไปเรื่องนี้ต้องระวังเหมือนกันนะครับ or maybe I didn't realize you were Jewish. You don't look Jewish at all.
Yeah, and it's like, well, okay, okay, in your mind, what do Jewish people look like?
Right,
You know,
right.
absolutely. It's putting people in a box, I think,
Yeah,
is
like
what it is.
pigeonholing them. Yeah, no, you're not supposed to do that.
No.
Or maybe you can say, I'm not racist. When people start off a sentence like that,
I'm not racist, but
but yeah, but okay, in this case, I'm not racist. I have a lot of black friends.
ay. Don't ever say that. Just don't, never.
No. Yeah, when in doubt, just shut up.
Yeah. And, you know, I think everybody everywhere is racist to an extent. And the sooner we can be aware of that and come to terms with that, the more progress we can make as a global society.
Right. Okay. And the other thing that I am guilty of, I guess, because I found myself using these phrases a lot, like the mental health thing. Because people say, you're crazy all the time, right? You're crazy. I'm crazy. I'm so paranoid. I'm so you're such a bipolar or something like that. So I'm so OCD about things. Right.
Yeah.
But you also have to be careful around those words too.
Because there are people who honestly have those conditions and those diagnoses, and you may be talking to one of them, you know?
Right.
Those aren't things that we can see or observe necessarily all the time. So you really have no idea. Or they might have a very close loved one with these issues. So it is important to watch our language. And again, you know, it's not intentional when we say, oh, that's crazy. I find myself doing that sometimes here in Thailand, and I have to watch myself because things are different, right? And I am discovering new different things. I'm like, that's so crazy, really? And I don't mean it's ridiculous. I just mean it's so different than what I know.
Or words like depressed, like depression มันเหมือนกับคำที่เราคิดว่ามันเป็นคำปกติ เช่น นี่ไบโพล่าปะเนี่ย เช้าอย่างเย็นอย่าง แต่คนที่เขามีอาการไบโพล่าที่เขา suffer จากไบโพล่าจริงๆ เขาจะรู้สึกอย่างไร หรือว่าคำที่เราพูดถึงเกี่ยวกับเรื่องของแบบ OCD อย่างเงี้ย ซึ่งมันเป็นอาการของโรคที่มันเป็นจริงๆ แต่เราเอามาพูดเล่นในบริบทที่มันเหมือนกับลดทอนความสำคัญของมันลง Would you say it kind of minimize the intensity or it's belittling the weight of the like disease or conditions?
Definitely. Absolutely. I think there's that. And there's also just this stigma attached to that language, right? Because you're using it to call something out or identify something as bad or unworthy or whatever. And so that's if someone has a diagnosis like that, like they start to internalize those words about themselves.
Right. มีคำหนึ่งคือที่ผมคิดขึ้นมาได้ปัญญาอ่อนอะไรเงี้ย เป็นคำที่มันต้องระวังเหมือนกันนะ เพราะว่าหลายๆคนมันเป็นเรื่องของสิ่งที่มันเกิดขึ้นจริงๆ The word we kind of like years back, like we use it to say it all the time, like retarded.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I remember when I was a teenager, we would say it all the time. Oh, that's retarded. Don't be retarded. That's so retarded. And I remember one day I said it to somebody and they said, actually, my brother is retarded. And I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. And after that, I learned my lesson and I never said it again. Because again, you just don't know who you're talking to, right?
And actually, we kind of want to say like stupid. Like, that's stupid. You're so stupid. But we just like switch up for like more colorful word that might sound more fun, but it's not fun to everybody.
No, not at all.
ต้องระวังมากๆเหมือนกันนะครับ เป็นเรื่องที่ควรจะต้องในฐานะที่เราเป็นคนที่ใช้ภาษาในการสื่อสารไม่ว่าจะภาษาอะไรก็ตาม มันมีเรื่องของวัฒนธรรม มันมีเรื่องของบริบทที่เราควรจะต้องคำนึงถึงความแตกต่างหลากหลาย diversity ในสังคมอาการหรือว่าความทุกข์บางอย่างที่เราได้แต่ได้ยินและพูดสนุกปากแต่ในขณะที่คนอื่นเขากำลังเผชิญอยู่จริงๆอันนี้ก็ต้องเป็นเรื่องที่ระวังมากๆ so in communication it's not just the words but everything between I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's important to just keep your listener in mind and think about their experience and how the things that you're doing and saying could be perceived. I mean, it doesn't mean we need to be paranoid. I think sometimes people start to get paranoid about like, oh, I don't want to offend anyone. I don't want to say this or do that. I mean, I don't think we have to take it that far, but just an awareness. You know, being aware and observing their reactions to things.
I really like when you said ask question.
Yeah.
That's one of the best approaches, I think, to get to know someone or to like not assume or presume anything about anyone like too soon.
Yeah.
Because like I said, we had no idea what they've been through.
Absolutely.
So if you want to know them better, just ask questions and get to know them like little by little, not like
No, not all at once. But
Okay, so I have a lot of fun talking about this with you,
me
Christine,
too.
today.
Thank you for having me again.
Of course, and we're learning a whole lot from you too. One of the purposes of this show is to learn something from someone who's not living in the same society as us and who's not speaking the same language as us, but we can learn from each other. And I'm so glad you're here.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm very happy to be here and share these things with you because I'm learning a lot as well about other perspectives. So
That's so
I
nice.
love it.
I'm glad. Okay, if you have anything at all that you might have heard in your everyday life from your experience that you kind of feel like it fall into the categories of the passive aggressiveness or microaggression.
Direct and indirect communication.
Yeah, direct and indirect communication or like backhanded compliment. Yeah, just share in the comment section below.